This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines. Opening arguments in Boston Marathon bombing trial. A shooting in Reseda wounds 3 people. And gas prices on the rise in California.
Hello, and welcome to Matador News. I'm Cristal Canedo.
And I'm Harry Abelson. The Boston Marathon bombing trial is starting today. This morning, lawyers from both sides delivered opening statements in a federal courtroom in Boston. The courtroom was packed with victims, family members, media, and members of the general public. Suspect Johar Tsarnaev is accused of conspiring with his older brother Tamerlan, who was killed 4 days after the blast as the brothers fled the police. Tsarnaev faces 30 charges in connection with the twin bombings that killed 3 people and injured more than 260 at the finish line of the 2013 Boston Marathon. Tsarnaev is also charged in the killing of a Massachusetts Institute of Technology police officer days after the bombings. 17 of the counts carry the death penalty.
The LAPD says the homeless man fatally shot by Los Angeles police on Sunday was living under the identity of a French national. The man was identified as Charlie Satterman Robinet, a convicted bank robber who had a French passport. The press counselor at the French embassy in Washington told ABC News the man is not French and the identity may have been stolen. Court documents confirm the man was released from federal prison after serving 14 years for bank robbery. A court document from 2005 says the state psychiatrist examined him and it determined he had a mental disorder effect, but it's unclear if he received treatment.
Los Angeles police officers are still looking for suspects following a shooting that injured 3 in Reseda last night. Authorities say they have taken 1 suspect into custody and 5 others are at large. Police received a shots fired call a little after 9 o'clock in the evening. When they arrived at the scene, they found the victims in a parking lot. West Valley Division Captain Alan Hamilton says the victims were taken care of.
They've both been transported to local hospitals, and they're in stable condition. A 3rd person was transported as a result of an altercation, and that person is also in stable condition.
The suspects have been described as Hispanic. Police said the shooting might be gang-related. And in San Bernardino, 7 are injured and 2 were killed in multiple shootings that also took place last night. The shootings occurred at a gas station and a nightclub. The 2 shootings are both also believed to be gang-related.
Passengers walk away after a Turkish airline plane skids off a runway at the airport in Nepal. The runway was slippery and surrounded by dense fog at the time of the accident. The plane circled from half an hour before, making a second attempt to land. The airline says 1 passenger was injured and taken to a local hospital.
In Los Angeles elections, amendments designed to increase voter turnout have been approved. A little over 8% of voters participated in yesterday's election. The voter turnout for the election has been traditionally low in odd-numbered years because there are no national or statewide races. The LA City Council recommended in changing to even-numbered years to create interest in voters. Opponents argue it would increase special interests. The 2 measures will also give elected officials an extra 1.5 years in office.
Gas prices have gone way up. Matador News reporter Danielle Pendleton has more on the story.
Thanks, guys. Gas prices have been increasing for the past 5 weeks, and drivers are finding themselves paying another $1 per gallon. This has been the highest increase in the past 2 years. According to GasBuddy.com, LA prices averaged $3.54. Gas prices have jumped largely because of the recent explosion at the ExxonMobil refinery in Torrance on February 18th. Several CSUN students say the prices are affecting them personally.
I can't really afford my groceries that much anymore. I can't afford to go out.
The gas prices going up, it does affect me. Like, I have to get less groceries and stuff, and I can't go home as often.
Prices are still lower than fall and even last year at this time. AAA predicts prices will continue to increase during spring. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Ferguson, Missouri police officer Darren Wilson will not face federal charges for the shooting death of Michael Brown last summer. The Justice Department formally closed its investigation today. Prosecutors say Wilson's actions do not constitute prosecutable violations of federal civil rights law. They say there is no evidence that can disprove Wilson's stated belief that he feared for his safety. But the department also issued a 100-page report saying it found racial discrimination by the Ferguson Police Department and court system against African Americans.
Now here is Jessica Atkins for the latest in health.
Thank you, Cristal. CNN reports the manufacturer of the endoscope involved in 2 superbug deaths at UCLA was never given permission to sell the device. The company Olympus began selling its duodenoscope in 2010, but the FDA now says the device never received clearance. Hospital officials say the cause of the superbug outbreak was 2 medical scopes contaminated with deadly bacteria. Olympus officials say they tried to make the device safer and immune to infection, but it did not work. Company officials say they sent in an application for permission to sell the scope, but it was still pending. The scopes also did not pass the FDA standards for disinfection. McDonald's plans to stop using chickens raised with antibiotics. The company is doing this as an effort to combat the increase of antibiotic-resistant superbugs. Officials are hoping this will set a trend across the fast food industry. Farmers can continue to use antibiotics to treat sick animals, but those meats will not be sold to restaurants and eaten. The FDA wants to stop farmers from using antibiotics for faster growth of farm animals. Now let's go to Cassie Yanagocio for the latest in business.
Thank you, Jessica. The Obamacare Act faces its 3rd challenge in the Supreme Court. An estimated 9.6 million people would lose their health insurance if the Supreme Court rules in favor of the plaintiff. Many conservatives claim wording in the Affordable Care Act makes it illegal for the government to issue tax credits for health insurance in 30 states. The plaintiff says these subsidies should only be available for state-run health insurance exchanges. A majority of the public wants Congress to enact a fix to the wording and to restore subsidies to all 50 states. Apple has beat Samsung in becoming the world's #1 smartphone maker. In the 4th quarter, Apple sold more than 74 million units. A huge demand for the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus boosted Apple products. Smartphone sales have increased by 20% with a total of 1 billion units. Samsung continues to struggle with its failing smartphone share. Samsung is trying to improve its market share with a new design and overhauled version of the Galaxy line. Let's go to Jessica Atkins for the latest in sports.
Former Microsoft CEO and current Los Angeles Clippers owner Steve Ballmer has been named the richest person in sports. Ballmer has a net worth of $21.5 billion. Forbes listed him as the richest team owner and the 35th richest person in the world. The CSUN women's basketball team is having a good season. Matador news reporter Jordan Saucedo is live in the newsroom with Coach Jason Flowers.
Thanks, Jessica. I'm here with head coach of the women's basketball team, Jason Flowers. Jason, the team's doing well this year. They're even #2 in conference. Best case scenario, do you guys have a chance at clinching the regular season title?
Unfortunately, we don't. Hawaii has already clinched the regular season championship, but our senior night tomorrow night, 7 o'clock here at home against Long Beach State, is for 2nd place. And so if we can win tomorrow night, it gives us a bye into the semifinals of our conference tournament, which actually obviously helps us try to reach the goals that the team has set at the beginning of the year.
Great. What will be your biggest obstacle going into the Big West tournament?
You know, I think it's the same every game, every week. Our biggest obstacle is always ourselves, and you know, our philosophy is that we always play against the game, and so we respect every opponent that we have. But at the end of the day, it's about us going out and doing the best that we can possibly do every single day, whether it's practice or whether it's games. And so our biggest obstacle is to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to prepare, and then obviously go out and perform on game day.
Does last year's season success put pressure on the team to do better this year at the tournament and if they make it to postseason?
That's a good question. I think the most pressure that you ever feel as an athlete, or even outside the athletic world, is the pressure that you put on yourself. And so, you know, our expectations going into this season are higher, or were higher than what other people's expectations were for us. So, you know, I think, again, we take the approach that every single day is championship day, whether it's practice or games. And so when you have that approach and you have a sense of urgency in everything that you do, you know, it's not a situation where you get into a game and now all of a sudden there's added pressure. So hopefully we're accustomed to feeling that sense of urgency every single day. Obviously the expectations are there, and rightfully so. You know, our kids have earned that, what they've done in the past, but we also know that what we've done in the past won't have any impact on this upcoming tournament. It's all about how we play. So we're just going to go out, we're going to prepare, we're going to play as hard as we can, and let the scoreboard take care of itself.
Thank you so much for joining us, Coach. The Matadors play tomorrow at 7 p.m. in the Matador. Back to you, Jessica.
16 wins and 42 losses in the season have the Lakers asking for the NBA for a hardship exception. This will allow the team to add a 16th player to the roster. The Lakers currently have 15 players, which is the league maximum. But with Bryant, Nash, Randall, and Price out for the season, it is likely that the NBA will agree to the Lakers' request. Any new players will be coming from the free agent pool or the D-League. Now here's Cassie Yanagocio for the latest in entertainment.
Thank you. Pharrell Williams and rapper T.I. are expected to take the stand in the Blurred Lines trial. Marvin Gaye's descendants are suing Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams for copyright infringement. They say Blurred Lines is too similar to Gaye's 1960s Gotta Give It Up song. The Gaye family is seeking $40 million for the song. Since its release, Blurred Lines has made more than $16 million in profit. A third of the profit went to Thicke and Williams, and T.I. received a quarter of it. Closing arguments are expected tomorrow. Oprah Winfrey's Chicago studio is being shut down. The Harpo studio has been open for more than 20 years. Winfrey will be relocating into a new studio in West Hollywood, California. Nearly 200 employees at the Chicago studio will lose their jobs. The Chicago property was sold to developer Sterling Bay for $32 million. That's all for entertainment. Now back to you, Harry.
And that's all for news. I'm Harry Abelson.
And I'm Cristal Canedo. Thank you for watching Matador News. Have a great day.